across this loader, then go ahead and enable the train station that would request light oil at the petroleum station. So assume that this is the station that is going to crack light oil, right? So that's because that's what it is. So I want this station to turn on when that signal 4 comes in and says true. So I mean, I'm basically saying that I'm questioning all of these, right? They're all going to be added up. So I'm going to get this and this and this, and they're all going to be on the red wire, red wire, red wire. So these are all going to end up putting a huge number. They're going to put 200,000 on signal 4. And then I'm going to have a train station that somehow is configured. It's already got a signal of some type coming in from somewhere else to tell it whether or not to enable or disable. But I'm also going to use some sort of combinator to say whether or not you can even turn on. So this thing has got all of its other oh, where the hell did it go? I just picked it up. Didn't throw it away. That was weird. Unless somebody else took it away. Oh, fuck, man. Get out of my way. I'm just trying to think. So I've got these decider combinators that are telling me whether or not this station can request a train. Because it's full. And I'm going to add another one that is going to... So if R is greater than 8, request a train. If R is greater than 16, request 2 trains. So if you've got a bunch of stuff... Okay, so that's the loader, so I'm looking at the wrong one. So you can just bugger right off. I need to look at an unloader. Look at the neck of an unloader for fluids only, which is this. So you look like this. So pretend that this is the refinery and it's filling up these tanks. They're not full, so I don't want the cracker to request anything. But this is the thing that would request light oil. I want light oil to not be able to request anything if these are not full. So essentially, I'm saying that if 4, which is what this is, some signal 4, so let me reuse that then. If signal 4 is greater than or equal to, what did I say, 200,000? So 190,000? 50, 100, yeah, because it's never going to be full. We're going to put this on F is equal to 1. Well, I don't need this then. If the combined fluids, which this is dangerous because I can't, I don't think I can do this. Because I specifically keep these separated. The green wire, I need to look at an unloader, sorry. A fluid unloader looks like this. Where's a fluid unloader? There it is. A fluid unloader has the green wire passing E. The red wire is only going here. And if I combine red wires, I'm screwing myself. Because then it's going to merge all these numbers and these individual unloaders don't work. Well, actually, I need to be looking at the fluid loader. And that's even worse because it's got that power wire going across. But same concept. The red wire is local to these two. And it's passed along. And R, as I recall, goes across multiples. So if I were to put the red wire across all of these, it would totally screw up the way this train works. And I can't do the way the green wire works. So I basically have to put it on the green wire. If I put so in this case, if I say if R is greater than 8, that means that all of the, if R equals 8, then enough of these are full, which could be deceptive, but enough of these are full that I can afford to crack the yellow. Because if the loader for yellow is full, then the unloader for cracking yellow to petroleum can be enabled. That's what I'm saying. God, that hurts the brain. Why do I have this at all three? It should be here. Yeah, you shouldn't even be here. You're not correct. Obviously not tested, but this is a wagon right here. That's a loader wagon. And I'm going to get R on the green wire. And if R is greater than 8, then output, I'm already doing an E of 1, but we're gonna do that. Which is basically saying that I know I'm just, I could do that. That way I know what I'm talking about. It's green. I'll do it the other way, okay. So if you read that a whole bunch of these things are positive, then you're full. And then if I run that green wire along a large power pole, I am going to screw up a lot of things because I will have cross-contaminated that. So this output cannot go here. This output needs to go to its own data, which goes to here, which does not connect to here. And this doesn't connect to here. I'm liking this less and less every minute that I work on it. But assume that we get a clear green wire across here. And I don't even want to use green, I want to use red. But assume we get a clear green wire across here. And I'm going to use this constant combinator to feed this so that I can simulate this. And we're going to put an R of 8. Then what I'm going to get here is a light oil signal that's high. And if we have a light oil signal that's high, mind you, this constant combinator is just to force this to be true for my testing purposes. If we get a light oil signal that's high, then I can enable this station. So what we're saying is for this particular station, we're going to add an extra set of must be true. This is the train requester, right? You're a loader. No, you're an unloader. That's right. You're unloading. If it's totally empty, it's going to request 2 trains. But I need an OR condition that says not just I, which is what's coming out of these two. If I want to keep this the same, and I do, I would say if damn, how do I do this? It's not a decider combinator, it's a arithmetic. If I or oil, output I. And then I would set U to receive input from, and that's why that has to be red. Because your input is going to come from here. Oh, that means that you cannot connect to that. You can only connect to this, which I dislike that tremendously. So you're going to connect here. I'm going to take your output, put it on an individual network, send it across the large network, drop it down onto an individual network, drop it into an input here, and then take your output and put it there. So our input here is I is 2 because these are both coming up 0 because there's no fluid on there. Now I don't like putting this fluid here because it's very risky for me to get confused. So I'm going to go back to, let's see, we got light, we got heavy, and that's really all I care about. And lube, which doesn't quite work. So we're not going to use those because they're confusing. So we're going to call this lube, we're going to call this heavy, and we're going to call this light. And that'll be petroleum if I need to do that. So you're going to output 7, and you're going to read 7. But it can't be or, it's got to be and. So what this is saying well, you're not outputting I, are you? All right, for testing, I need another content combinator. And I need it to output an I. No, I need it to output an E. What are you looking at? E greater than 0, E greater than 1. So I need you to output an I, an E of 1 on the green network. So you're now requesting a train, and you're now expecting a train. But if I turn you off, you're no longer requesting a train. If I turn you on, and then I turn you off, you're no longer requesting a train. If I have another E, and I connect you, and you're also off, you're not requesting a train. If I turn you on, you're requesting a train. If I turn both of you on, you're not requesting a train. Why not? E is 2. So I is 2. 7 is 1. Yeah, fudge. Because now I is 2. Fuck. I thought it would be if I had a signal and 7 had a signal, that it would work. But that's not how AND works. So I could remove the second train request from this. But essentially what I'm talking about is how do I remotely turn off a station? How do I remotely turn off a station with an override command that has multiple dynamics already? Now I could just say something like I minus R, or I minus 7 rather. The value in 7. That would get me to, it would be negative or it would be 1, and that's not good. It'd be 0 or it'd be 1, and that doesn't work. I could just do if 7 is greater than 0. I can change this to a... Oh, shit. Change this to a decider combinator. And I can say if the value of 7 is greater than 0, then output I. Of course, that means I need to know what I is. So now I got 2. I turn this off, and I've got none. Turn this back on, turn both of these off, I should have none. Turn one of these on, I should have 1. Turn both of these on, I should have 2. And it's the behavior I want. My, what a tangled web we weave. Whew. So to review, on the unloader train, so where I would crack light oil to petroleum gas, I am going to ask the light oil station, are you greater than 8? Which means, are you full and requesting more than one train? Because if you're full and you're requesting more than one train, then I have an excess of light oil. In which case, I'm okay with cracking that light oil into petroleum. It has to be more than one train because if it's only one train, then I'm using that one train for things like solid fuel or rocket fuel specifically. And the same thing with lube. I'm going to use the same logic with lube, which says if lube is requesting more than one train for pickup, in this case 16, so if this is requesting 2 trains, well, what's the thing that you're actually keying off of? I, isn't it? Isn't that the deciding factor? So if I just pull from you what your I is, so if your I is, because your I is going to be on the green wire. So if you're requesting more than one train, then on signal 7, output true, and then at the other one, it says, if you're empty, and you've been given permission by this thing to request a train because we have too much, then go ahead and request a train. Ooh, buddy. And that means I'm going to have to put a red wire on the big pipe, on the big signals. But it frees these up geographically. Holy crap. That also means I need to start running data wires on my big wires, at least for these oils. Yeah, I forgot to talk. Sorry. Alright. Well, anyways, might as well get after it, huh? So now the question is, where do I put these? Obviously, I put the base cracking here because that's going to have heavy oil, and I need to run the water in from over there. I could put the other one right next to it, and next to that. Now I can put lube anywhere. So I need to go down and put another of these. Leave our bots off, go down to Tabuk. And I will take the suggestion and start working on some other stuff. I should have increased this to 200. I don't know if these are going to end up here, but it's kind of close to where they're going to end up, so. Need to have one of those so I can build it. Didn't want you guys to place those things, you jerks. So I've got all this captured, right? Right. Well, that's what you get for being there. Alright, so I've chosen this to be where these are going to be because it fits. I had to pop up here in order to be able to get a stacker to work. I'm going to move this so that it's facing the other way. Now I'm going to run it up here and I'm going to run along that. Now I'm going to turn off my bots and go back into planning mode. Put down some extra rail signals because this is going to probably be pretty busy. I hate dead trees. Those are rocks. I'm not used to seeing rocks here. I don't know why I'm picking up these rocks and not just leaving them for future. So let's do that. Let's just leave them for future. Shouldn't even be killing these trees yet because I don't know where I'm going to be building stuff, but so what we're saying is that oil is going to come in here, one of these two places, possibly 3, 4 if I decide to do something silly here, but 3. And it's going to get loaded up in I'm going to have more than one loader. This is a fluid 0 loader, which means that there's no pipes coming through. Because I don't know what my pipes are going to look like. Normally, these would be unloaders, but we're going to be loading all 3 of these on here. Petro, light oil, and heavy oil. Then we are going to unload oil here, and because I don't know for certain what I'm going to do here, I'm going to mark this as 3 oil and motors. Well, for now, I'll just go with 2. And then I have to bring in water. Now, normally, yeah, it's right here. This is what this is going to look like. Normally, I would gap this at a certain distance, but I don't know what my distance is going to be, and this is considerably wider than what I normally do. So I'll just bring down the first row. And give me a bit of maneuverability. Now the traditional distance here is this. If I put those that close, I'm going to have a real painful time trying to get those pipes to line up. So I think this is the farthest distance I can go without having to put down another power pole. Nah, I can go a couple more. I can assure you these power poles up here that support this, I hate them. I think I'll do this instead. We're just going to depart from our normally scheduled setup in order to support fluids. All right, so those power poles will reach. Okay, now pipes. These pipes. I gotta get water in here. I gotta get oil in here. It's likely that water that's a cracker. That's a cracker. So this needs 35,000 water. So I need 1 water for every 2 of these, which I'm fine with running 1 water for every 1 of these. But that means that I need 8 of them, and that's a bit of a challenge. How much space do I have here? So that's not enough. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would kind of be in the way. So if I do that, this doesn't fit unless I do that. Which it still doesn't fit. Well, that's not where that lines up anyways. This is a feed pipe. Still, it doesn't give me the opportunity to do what I need to do. Man, this is hard. I'm glad I took a nap earlier today. So these are bidirectional. But these I think I alternated. So this is... So yeah, I alternated these. Source on the inside, or source on the outside, and input or output on the inside. Which means that this isn't consistent. That's not what I want at all. See, that'd be great if I only had to do one, but I don't. I gotta do multiples. So what did I do here? I took the output and I rolled it back in. Because I'm also not thrilled about these being so close to each other, because it's going to cause all sorts of piping issues. So I'm considering how can I make this here instead of there. Hi, King. How are things with you? I'm doing some design work for pipes. Nah, I don't like that. I'll deal with that up there when I need to. How do I do red such that it's tiling when it's this way? This yellow and the other one are easy. So this will take the red out of here and pump it here. Now, the next one will output the red here and pump it up to here, which will bend it around and send it here, which will bend it around and send it here. It's the best I can do on that. Almost revealed your home, King. Almost. I'm trying to figure out how to do this stuff. I'm using my other work as a guide. I still think I'm going to need to move this down one. And that's unfortunate. Because obviously this goes like that. Right? And if all the water is coming from the one side, that's fine. Now, if water were being unloaded from a train, it would be getting unloaded from this train. And for this, I really only need half the water as oil, so I could get away with it. So if this were an unloader, if memory serves me right, it would be here. That's what I did here, right? When I had water for this. And then for the ones that didn't quite line up right. So that was just a double water, though. I just fed the water into the water. I didn't really have a solution for how to deal with a double fluid unload that was different. So if this is a fluid unload, and this is already taken up by that, I don't have a way to get across here without causing myself a big headache. Yeah, I'm not going to landfill a bunch of stuff, but I'm going to put it near water. But still, I got to run the pipes in close. And I want to architect it so that if I needed to, I could train in the water. And I'm not going to do this. But I want this connection point. And I want to be consistent with all my other designs. Because, I mean, I've got all this other stuff that's designed around, having specific columns for specific unloaders. So like unloader 1 gets this spot, and unloader 2 gets this column, and unloader 3 gets this column. Because it's A, B, C, D, and then it repeats, and it's consistent. So the first one's going to be in this vertical stack, and the second one's going to be way out here. But I don't think I can maintain that here. I think I'm going to have to throw that away. Because if this is oil, and it is, then I can't, I don't have a way to get it across there without breaking everything. Because it won't fit in that space. So if I do that, then those are my oil unloads. Unfortunately, I've now got this problem. Oh yeah, that's why I did that. Oh, I can't do that. Well, the only way I'm getting around that is to do this. So that's going to be a water unload. And it doesn't quite line up. Because it's this water. So if this is the oil unload for this, there's that. And then if this is the oil unload for this, well, that kind of solves that problem, doesn't it? Yeah. It would go that way here and here. But you have to come here. And you can't